And it's just a huge loss when something like this happens for our whole community.
Marysville is heartbroken tonight after an officer was shot and killed in the line of duty, the first in the city in more than 100 years. A lot to cover tonight on the ABC 10 News at 6. Good evening, I'm Chris Thomas.
I'm Laura Painter. This breaking news story has been unfolding all day. The shooting happened this morning in Olivehurst, which is just a few miles south of Marysville. We have live team coverage now from the scene in Olivehurst and from the Marysville Police Department.
But we start with ABC 10's Luke Clary. Luke, what's the latest from investigators tonight?
Well, Chris, Laura, it's been a somber and emotional day here in Marysville, both for law enforcement officers and for ordinary civilians who are touched by this, as we are learning more now about the shooting that occurred in Olivehurst and what led up to that shooting. So here is what we know so far. This happened during a Yuba Sutter Narcotics and Gang Enforcement Task Force search warrant that they were executing. Now, this was happening in 20 different locations across Northern California, including on Kestrel Way in Olivehurst, where this officer was killed in an exchange of gunfire with the suspect, who was also killed. Here's more from Yuba County District Attorney Clint Curry on the operation.
The central suspects in this operation were part of transnational drug trafficking organizations that were moving methamphetamine and deadly fentanyl across the border from Mexico into our state, where it was harming our communities and our children.
The officer was an operator with the Yuba Sutter Regional SWAT team. He was transported to Rideout Hospital in Marysville, where he died of his injuries. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the district attorney told us to expect more information on the other 19 search warrants that were executed across Northern California as part of this operation, and the several arrests that were made. He called them major players moving poison throughout our communities. Reporting live in Marysville, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
Yeah, Luke, it's been a long and heartbreaking day. Still a lot to unpack as these investigations continue. Luke, keep us posted when you learn more.
And keep in mind, the scene where this all happened is still very active.
And that's where we find ABC 10's Gabriel Porras. Now, Gabriel, describe this neighborhood for us and what you're seeing at the scene right now.
That's right, Chris and Laura. It is generally a quiet neighborhood. The scene itself is pretty small, and the investigation is centered around a home here on Crystal Court. Police have a large area blocked off, though, which is why it is hard to see so much of what's happening from the ground. From the sky, though, you can see investigators walking into and out of the home. We've seen law enforcement officers here from several agencies, including the FBI. Just before 2:30 p.m. this afternoon, an armored SWAT car positioned in front of the home for hours was seen being driven away from the scene here. Now, this neighborhood is on the outskirts of Olivehurst. There are only a couple dozen homes behind the police tape here, and as I mentioned, neighbors say it's usually quiet, which is part of the reason why all of this has come as such a tragic shock.
I walk with the baby, you know, sometimes dark at nighttime with, you know, just me and him. You know, I feel safe around here, but, you know, this incident was like questionable now, so that's definitely a big change to the community.
And a community changed in many more ways than just one. Every car going into and out of this neighborhood has had to be stopped and checked in one by one as police try to make sure that this investigation stays secure. That's the latest live here in Olivehurst. Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Well, certainly a sad and scary day for so many. Please keep us posted as you learn more, Gabriel. Thank you. Meanwhile, Assemblymember James Gallagher, who represents the Marysville area, says this is a very difficult time for the entire community.
ABC 10 talked with him outside a committee hearing at the Capitol this afternoon, where he became overcome with emotions.
There's a police officer who's no longer protecting our community, a father, you know.
It was also an emotional scene in the aftermath of this morning's deadly shooting. A procession of law enforcement and other emergency responders you see here winding through downtown Marysville. Some residents were surprised, but many tell us they were moved by the show of support And that support is also being shown at the Marysville Police Department. That's where we find ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha.
Yeah, he joins us live with how officials and the community are responding to this tragedy. I know, Garshpal, some people have even been bringing flowers to the police department.
Yeah, Chris and Laura, they have. We're told this officer was a 2-year veteran of the Marysville Police Department and also a U.S. Army veteran. Now, the Marysville Police Department hasn't released the identity of the officer who died in the line of shooting, but we're told, line of duty, but we're told that he was well liked and that he was young. But as you guys mentioned, people have been coming by. This is one of few flowers that has been placed. Others are going further into the department to paying their respects there. But while details are emerging, we know this loss is deeply felt by his colleagues, friends, and the entire city. Now, this is what the Marysville Police Chief had to say about the impact of this loss.
This is a sad day in the city of Marysville. We lost an officer today who was near and dear to our hearts. He was a 2-year veteran with our department, also a U.S. Army veteran. You know, we will have more information probably tomorrow, but we are taking today to be able to honor him and mourn the loss of a loved one, a brother, a father, and just a close friend of ours.
And as you heard from the police chief here, today is the day to honor him. And it's a day that no police chief ever wants to hear, but we're told for the city of Marysville, for the Marysville Police Department, this is the first officer who have died in the line of duty in over a century. Reporting live in Marysville, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
Yeah, such a heartbreaking, emotional day. So much to cope with right now. Our hearts go out to the family and the community during this very difficult time. Garshpal, thank you.
And I want you to take a look. We have been streaming updates on this breaking news throughout the day on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. For more breaking news updates, download the free streaming app to your TV. You can also watch the full news conference on this tragic shooting.